welcome back to the channel. My name is Lee Scott. I'm a professional nature photographer based here on Kauai, and I'm happy to have you here today. In this episode, I want to share with you one Southside location here on Kauai, and also share with you a couple of principles that I have when it comes to photographing seascapes. So let's get into it. Number one, just go. So when you're planning a shoot, and if you're thinking of going to take pictures either that evening or the next day or over the weekend or whatnot, and you become so obsessed with the weather and are the conditions going to be right, or if it's raining, I'm not going to go, or if it's too windy, I'm not going to go. And you know, you're looking at your iPhone and you check out the weather and you're like, oh geez, it's going to be windy today, poipu, windy, wind for the next week, and finally Thursday sunny. Oh no, it's going to be sunny, it's too clear, so we're not going to get any color in the sky, so it's not worth going. Don't worry about any of that, just go. Obviously, if the weather is severe, we're talking blizzards, hurricane, floods, tornadoes, then maybe, you know, have that second cup of coffee and don't go or sleep in. Analysis is paralysis at some point, so I encourage you to just get out there and go. If the light isn't perfect, it really doesn't matter, right? So it may not be a keeper, it may not be something for the wall, it may not be anything more than filler on Instagram, but you're going to practice, you're going to learn your style, you're going to have the opportunity to try out different things and to photograph in different circumstances, different situations, and that's going to give you an experience bank that you can tap into for those days when the light is really special, or for those locations that are just simply stunning. There's that word again, stunning. The second idea is when photographing seascapes, when photographing water, I often will allow water to be the subject. And what I like to do is to photograph the flow. And that flow of the water, the Tao Te Ching teaches that the softest is the strongest. And that's something that I really like to look for and see where the water cuts channels, where the water breaks that coastline over time, where the waves repeatedly crash and crash and crash into the coastline over thousands of years and eons. And those areas of repetitive flow and patterns, that's what I like to key into. In the video, I don't really talk about it that much, but that's something that I want to introduce to you now. So as we watch the video and I show some of the photos, thinking of how the ocean and the flow of the ocean actually carries the successful image. The third thing to consider while we watch this is how we wish to document that flow, how we wish to communicate the power of the ocean. Do we want to accentuate the power and speed and ferocity with stop action, which would be a very high shutter speed, low f-stop setting, and you just freeze the action? Or is it something that you want to show more of the esoteric side, in many ways sensual side of the water and of the flow, and those organic shapes and spirals and lines that the movement of the ocean makes? And if that's something that you want to communicate, then you're going to need a slower shutter speed. But most importantly, you're going to have to understand the light. To do those slower shutter speeds, we're working at blue hour and just after sunrise. We can also use an ND filter. This episode doesn't talk about ND filters, but we will put together an episode for the future that does discuss ND filters and photographing the ocean and the flow. And finally, the last thing, I forgot. Maybe it wasn't that important anyway. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a wonderful day. Aloha. Good morning. Came out to a spot where I've been photographing this week, and all week long I've been on that side. One of the things that I talked about in the same but different video is the importance of going back to locations. And then I also offered tips on how to see these locations new. And one of the tips that I offered was to think of how you could look at the same subject from a different angle. So from a different perspective, so from the opposite side. Past couple days I've been up there shooting across the coastline from up top down the line, and today I'm on the completely opposite side of the point, and we'll try to catch some splash up against the rocks, up against the cliffside once we get more sunlight. And the sun's coming up. We have maybe 25 minutes or so, 30 minutes maybe, before the direct sunlight's going to hit that cliff. And that cliff will turn orange, red, and of course with the green foliage on top, we'll get some nice green. Looking at the sky, it appears that today is probably the best color in the sky that we've had. So this is sometimes how it goes. I mean, it's not like a banger of a sunrise, but it ain't bad either. And if I was on the other side, of course, I'd be able to photograph that. But you can only be at one place at one time, and so we're on the other side. I might pop over into this little tide pool area here and see if there's a reflection to be had. For now, we'll just admire that sunrise. When you come out to photograph the surf or the waves, one of the most important things to do is to just come out here and watch. First thing, just watch. Set up, anticipate where you want to be pointing the camera, but take a wide perspective and just be open to change. Be open to changing to where the waves are breaking. Just sit and observe for a few minutes actually before you start photographing. They said it's really windy over there today, which of course it is, but this is actually quite nice. All right, we got a little sun shining through now, so yes, this is what we came for right now. Now if we can just catch a couple of big splashes there, we'll be good. Yes, 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 okay. So I found a pretty good spot where it's hitting pretty big. There it was just then, and we're going to zoom into that little area now and see if we can highlight it a bit more. We're still shooting soft. We have the trail coming in up top nicely in the corner. And another thing to look for markers in the landscape to help you maintain the composition or where the waves are breaking. And I'm using these 3 rocks that are up top that I know pretty well because I see them every time when I'm on the other side of the cliff. I just love that scene. Look at that. So good. So good. Shooting faster on this one, bringing in the reef just a little bit, maybe adds an extra layer to it. We'll see how we like it once we get a nice wave. Any good photo session needs a good snack. Here we have homemade bread with mango jam. Goes nice with the sunrise in the morning. So this is a great example of the fact that you don't take the picture when you leave the house. So when I left, well, actually when I was getting ready, it was raining pretty hard at the house. And the forecast today calls for rain in the morning, but we should have about an hour of decent light before the rain and drizzle starts. And I thought, you know, we might come out here and get something nice as far as weather or dramatic scene. So we came. We'll see what we get. This is actually the same location that I've been coming to all last week, except today I drove to within 10 minutes of it. All last week I was hiking it to get some exercise. It's about an hour hike. It's very enjoyable, pleasurable hike, but I'm kind of tired today, so I thought I would just drive over here. So I'm going to come down here and see what the view from these rocks gives. I'm shooting down the coast, but looking at the photos from yesterday, it just felt a little too safe. So I'm going to see if I can get a little closer to the action. The sky up above looks decent. Wind's not too bad here. We get to this spot here. Does this give us anything more? No, I like the other one better. Yeah, this is good. We'll shoot down this and see how this is. Set up, we found the composition, shooting right down the coast. This is pretty much the same subject I was photographing the other day, except I went across the stream and photographed the entire coastline. So now what we're doing, we're just waiting for sunrise. It's about 10 minutes away. Going to be behind that stretch of sand, Gillian's Beach behind us. And we're going to just hopefully catch some nice splashes. If the light hits it, it should turn nice red rust color. And we might even get something in the sky too, kind of dark, ominous, with those heavy clouds there. But it looks like the clouds are moving in, and I'm not sure if we're going to get any light at all. But you never know until you come out here and try. Well, sunrise has come and gone, and the only thing that's changed is more clouds. That's how it goes. Now, we also have a portrait photographer up here as well. I wonder what kind of portraits they're going to get today. Probably about as good as landscape, seascape photos that I'm getting today. So the light's getting a little better. The sun's coming up over a cloud, and we have maybe I don't know, about 5 minutes, and then I think we'll have some sunlight shining here on the point, on the rocky point, and the cliff and the waves. Try to catch it, and then we'll head home. Spray's pretty bad today. Definitely yesterday across the stream was more sheltered area, away from the wind and the ocean spray. Shooting at ISO 100, 5.6, 1/40th of a second. And I have a Tacoma truck that I'm keeping out of the frame. We have a horizon line just centered. Pretty basic composition. I'm not bringing in any of the foreground because I don't like how those jagged rocks in front of me feel. Once we get some sunlight on them, then I may bring them in if they turn a little brown color, not brown, red, orange. Right now, if they're just black, heavy, I don't want to bring them in. Give me a good wave to push through while we have just like fairly decent light. Hillside Tacoma looks like they're leaving, so I can open up the composition a bit. We have just a little sliver of light shining through. Come on now. Give me a wave. Give me a wave, give me a wave. Please give me a wave with this little light that we have shining through. 7.1, 1/25th of a second. Like the soft wave, not too distinct, but not just a white blob, a blob rather, white blob there. The sun's gone now. That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes, homie. See you next time. And this is like Game of Thrones, Stormborn or something. Where was, what's the Khaleesi, where's she from? Dragonstone or something. Damn, that's Dragonstone if I've ever seen it, huh? All right. Heading back to the house, wipe down the gear first, put on some coffee, and smoothie time. Gotta lose some weight, man. It's priority number one for the summer. And it is summer now too, isn't it? June 3rd today, wow. Tell you, as you get older, time goes by faster.